Prepare to experience the strongest radio allowable by law. Secrets will be revealed. Myths dispelled. From the studio gym where excuses never apply, it's Superhuman Radio with your host, Carl Lenore.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Superhuman Radio. Trying to adjust my camera here. I'm sick. Everybody knows that at least once a year I get sick, and it's starting in February this year. I thought I had a cold, but then I had a sore throat. But mega doses of thymosin alpha-1 and LL37, my sore throat was gone in less than a day, and I expect to be up and running to full speed by tomorrow. But I may be taking myself on and off camera periodically to blow my nose because right now I'm just like a snot factory. I know that's an appealing thought, isn't it? Pretty disgusting. We have a really, really important show for you today. It encompasses something very simple, but very, very complex at the same time. A really great study was published by Dr. James D. Nicolantonio a few years ago. He's the guy who authored The Salt Fix. And talks about the fact that starving ourselves of sodium is actually causing more problems with high blood pressure and such than accumulating sodium in the body. He published a great study about subclinical magnesium deficiency. And when something's subclinical, it doesn't get recognized. But in the case of magnesium, subclinical magnesium deficiency can really cause problems. It may be the root of many forms of heart disease, and it's broaching a national health crisis now. We're going to get into this in just a second with my friend Wade Lightheart. Before we do that, I have to thank our title sponsor, Legendary Foods, makers of the tasty pastry, keeping us in our lane while we enjoy sweets. The tasty pastry, less than 1 gram of sugar, 20 grams of high quality protein, tastes like cake. And if you don't believe me, let your kids eat them, because they'll eat them all before you have a chance to eat any yourself. Kids don't eat protein bars just because they're good for them. They're like, oh, this tastes disgusting, I'm not eating it. But they'll eat the tasty pastry, guaranteed. Go to shrnetwork.biz/legendary. Use the code SHR10 to save 10% off your tasty pastries today. And now let me bring my buddy on, and that's Wade Lightheart. How you doing, Wade?
Doing great. Hey, you know, it's kind of cool. We got kind of the same color of shirts on today.
Yeah, I know. I got this from a listener. It's Camp Arafat or something like that, Arafan, and it's a gym in Kuwait. And
very cool.
I have listeners that are deployed, that are overseas, and they listen to the show and they send me nice things. This was sent to me by John Parker. But yeah, we're both wearing kind of a reddish.
Reddish. We're in fall colors, even though it's spring.
Yeah. So, and I know this has been something you've already had your finger on the pulse of, but I don't think a lot of people realize that less than 1% of all the magnesium in your body is in your blood and serum. And when we test for magnesium, we test the blood, right? 99% of the magnesium is in your cells.
Yes, which is why I suggest people actually do a SpectraCell test. And they have a way it's a sophisticated way where you do draw blood and they spin it, but they can tell how much you're absorbing in your tissue versus how much is in your actual blood supply, as well as if you have issues. And virtually every client that we've had who have ran that test is magnesium deficient, severely magnesium deficient, which is one of the reasons why we developed a magnesium product. But it's more complicated than that, because different types of magnesium are uptaken by different parts of the body. And that was something that, you know, I have to give credit to Charles Poliquin for, who one of his secret sauces with his gold medal athletes, he trained, I think it was gold medalists in 27 different sports. And he said he was the first person to identify that, you know what, all magnesiums are not created equal. Some magnesiums are better uptaken by different parts of the body. And these are the ones that we're going to improve athletic performance, nervous system recovery, and specifically where a lot of people are running. If we look at heart disease and dysfunctions in heart function, which is the #1 killer of people, is heart issues. And also something with athletes. You see these athletes who drop dead on the court, or, you know, people who are extremely fit, and then they develop cardiac, you know, issues.
Arrest.
Oftentimes it's magnesium.
Yeah. Magnesium is a powerful electrolyte responsible for the relaxation of muscle.
Yes.
Calcium channel activity causes the heart to stroke. Magnesium allows the heart to expand, and it's a very, very delicate balance. And we're talking about balance here when we talk about these things. You know, this is lost on a lot of people, including doctors. Few doctors even check magnesium levels in serum today. They just assume that if you're eating food, you're getting magnesium. There's people who are malabsorbers of magnesium. There are certain groups of classifications of drugs that will cause you to lose magnesium faster. And more importantly, if you are type 2 diabetic, insulin causes this imbalance in electrolytes. Insulin has a direct effect on how much calcium, how much magnesium, how much potassium gets into the cell. And magnesium is one that if you are even pre-diabetic and your body is starting to produce a lot of insulin, you're going to find that when you do a SpectraCell test, you're not carrying the amount of magnesium that you should. And that's why this study says that this could be like a huge health crisis right now, because when they started looking at the research, like 85% of all the people in their research were either clinically or subclinically deficient in magnesium. That's astonishing.
And one of the things that we're hoping over the course of the next 10 to 20 years to discover is what is the optimal level. So most of medical science is looking at what is the bare minimum that will keep me upright. Nobody has figured out what is the optimal level, and biohackers, particular people who are using cutting edge science to kind of experiment on their own bodies and determine, you know, what is the precise amount that you need based on your individual genetics, your uptakes, any conditions that you have, your exercise performance. We're still in the early stages of establishing optimal levels. But, you know, bodybuilders, I think, were the original biohackers, people in strength sports that we were overcoming. You know, they're a little bit less hesitant to go to super physiological dosages because they're trying to overcome genetic evolutionary factors. I want more muscle. I want to be bigger and stronger. I don't care if I burn more calories. These are not survival-based components. So that's on the maximal side. The medical industry is on the minimal effective dosage to kind of keep you from developing some critical condition. But I think what's emerging, it's why our company is called Biological Optimization by Optimizers, is what is that specific amount for the individual? Now, when you have, to your point, I want to circle back to the diabetic issue. So insulin, a lot of people don't know this, is the most anabolic hormone in the body. It drives everything into the cells. And like you said, it can upset delicate electrolyte balances. Magnesium is a critical factor in oxygen uptake and energy production in ATP. Now, what happens with diabetics as they go through progressive use of insulin over years is they start losing oxygen flow to the extremities of the body. I think it's very much correlated to this kind of issue. And then from heart people, which the whole point was, by the way, I love the heart picture here. When you look at that, it's just pretty, it's pretty amazing that we just like our bodies evolved to develop an organ that's sophisticated. Really fascinating. But when you look at the importance of that firing, that electrolyte, you look at how many people need pacemakers because they're dysregulated in their heart rate. I would put forth that I think there's probably more of those issues that could be corrected by nutrition than is maybe advocated by the medical industry, because adding some electrolytes to your body and eating a better diet, well, that's just too much responsibility on the individual. We'll just give you a bunch of drugs.
Well, and the other thing is that not all foods that have magnesium are ideal for increasing magnesium. So things like cheese, they have magnesium, but they have a lot more phosphorus than magnesium. And foods with higher phosphorus than magnesium, the magnesium can be displaced. And so it's not, this is why, I know there's a lot of people out there like, oh, well, if I just eat a good, well-rounded diet, I don't need supplements. That's not true any longer. I'm sorry. I hate to say that. I know people are like, oh, yeah, if you just eat a wide variety of foods, it's not true anymore. And some of the things that complicate this discussion is the fact that such a large percentage of people out there are insulin resistant today. And that throws everything off. In fact, if you are type 1 diabetic, chances are you're severely depleted of magnesium. And if you have a child that's type 1 diabetic, they absolutely should be supplementing with magnesium. This study shows that. So in a perfect world, you're living on the savannah, you're eating fresh killed animals that have not been fed, hyena chow and stuff like that. And you are living in the sun, and you're maybe you can live without nutrient deficiencies. But if you are part of the concrete jungle, like the rest of us, you're going to have to supplement in order to achieve optimal levels of magnesium. Now, the good news is it's not expensive. And it baffles the crap out of me that doctors don't have these discussions with their patients. But do you think doctors even are aware of the fact that there is a growing number of preclinical factors here, that subclinical factors here at work? Do you think they even know that?
Well, I would put it this. I would say the fraction of the percentage of doctors who are practicing medicine today would actually know that. And number two, the strict levels of regulation, the influence of the pharmaceutical industry into the education of the treatments of things, and the high level of regulation and legal requirements box doctors into a hyper cautious position that only very few have the time, the energy, as well as the comprehension skills or the understanding or the experience around those to confidently advocate those positions. Now, that being said, there's a guy a cardiologist that I've actually been on his podcast a number of times. His name is Sanjay Gupta. Now, it's not the Dr. Gupta that you see on CNN. It's another Dr. Sanjay Gupta in London.
Okay.
And he is extremely well-versed in the health of patients. And he's had me on his podcast a number of times where he said that he found that he was able to treat his patients. You can Google this guy on YouTube, and he uses magnesium with his heart patients en masse because he has found that for many of the conditions they're suffering from, magnesium will correct the issues far better than the drug medications that are recommended by the pharmaceutical industry, from which he is. And he goes, my job is to treat people. He has fun with his patients. He listens to his patients. He's kind of an old school medical practitioner, the people who came in and weren't under the fix of, hey, it's 5 minutes, this or that. And I think he's refreshing. And there's a small group of medical practitioners who are returning to the practice of the care and treatment of the individual. But a lot of them are forced under, as we just saw with this whole pandemic thing, centralized legal regulatory components that prevent the doctor from even doing what they know might be best for the patient, because what's happening. I'll give you a case in point. In Canada, for example, where the government is completely immersed in the medical system, there is a wide variety of patients who have legitimate, my father included, is in this category because heart disease is an aspect on his side of the family, that has severe liabilities with the recommendations around, he had open heart surgery, around the recommendations of the treatment during the pandemic that was prescribed by the government. No doctor in Canada can write him a medical exemption, even though the risks of him taking the government program contraindicates his condition. Like it doesn't make any sense from a mathematics, right. The risk. Right. And so there's a great example of how deeply, and I had to get a specialist here in the United States to write him a medical exemption, and it is still very difficult for him. And so what's happened is, I feel for doctors. So I don't want to condemn doctors. They're in a tough position to be able to advocate for this. So you're probably going to have to get a naturopathic doctor or someone who is practicing functional medicine in order to give you the information, provide you the accurate test, and then make the suggestions around it. If you're not doing that, the chances of you in preventative maintenance of a heart condition that could be treated with magnesium is almost zero.
Well, Dr. Steven Sinatra wrote a compelling book over a decade ago.
Yeah.
Sinatra was a heart surgeon, and he discovered that many of his patients who had heart failure, and they were waiting for heart transplants, could actually be treated with magnesium, CoQ10, a little bit of a unique sugar called D-ribose.
Yep.
And one thing I'm missing. What am I missing? Oh, L-carnitine.
Yes.
And that by giving heart failure patients this concoction 2 times a day, they miraculously, their heart started to work again, and they never had to end up waiting for that heart. And the irony of this is that this has been a well-known approach for over a decade. But I would bet you that I could walk into any doctor's office right now and ask them about this, and they wouldn't know.
It's one of the great challenges of our time right now, in that our doctors, they are forced into these boxes. Our best, brightest, and most motivated people are put inside a regulatory box and an information box that really limits their ability to treat the patients. And you as an individual, one of my books I wrote, you need to assemble your Jedi Council. You need your team of professionals who are interested in your body, are willing to spend the time to give you the precise information from an authoritative position that understands the mechanics of whatever you're dealing with. And I highly advocate that. And funny enough, I've had 5 vascular surgeons who have had me on their podcast, or they've been on my podcast in the last year, because of the efficacy of the magnesium that they're finding in their practices. And that's, these are some of the biggest names in the public in the public domain. And those are doctors who have broken ranks with the mainstream kind of, centralized control of dissemination of nutritional information or options that people have. And they're doing that because they're writing books, they're taking podcasts, they're doing blogs so that they can expand upon it and provide options for people.
What is Bobby Cooper, who was on Facebook a second ago, but now he's on YouTube, says, what is the optimal form of magnesium? Is there an optimal form, or is there many?
No. So that's a great question. And it's the one that we started asking ourselves when we began to look at, okay, we understand that there's a major pent up demand for magnesium because there's massive deficiency, which is a soil issue, particularly in North America, where there's not enough inner soil, even if you're eating what would be considered high magnesium plants. So we went and started doing a deep dive through all these research, information journals, PubMed stuff. Here's orotate, here's malate, here's, et cetera, et cetera. You go all down the list. And then I dove deep into Charles Poliquin's information, because what I love about Charles is he learned, I think it was 12 or 13 different languages, because he saw there was biases within cultures and research, and he wanted to be able to interpret research in different areas of the world to come up with conclusions. And turns out there is no optimal magnesium. There are magnesiums which lean to the absorption in certain parts of the body. Okay, so I can run through a few of them that people might want to think about, depending on where they're at. So there's things like citrate, bisglycinate, malate. Threonate is a specific product. We could go expand on that. That one's usually arranged around sleep, and you need a high dosage of it. And so it's good in a specific situation, but it's limited in many other. It's a popular one. Taurate, orotate. Orotate, just to comment on that. A lot of research on that around survival of heart tissue that's been damaged by oxygen starvation, premature heartbeats, and it's also for increase in exercise capacity. So you know how people get that kind of gray look when they get ill, particularly around the heart component. What's interesting, when you add orotate in, you'll often see improvements in the skin appearance or calcification in heart tissue, right? Because that's one of the problems when you've had damage to the heart. You have scarring within the heart that can obviously limit your effects after. Athletes will do that. There's aspartate is another one that people have. Glycinate is another one. And so what we did is we have a research facility at Birch University in Croatia that helps us gather and make informed decisions. And what we did is we combined 7 different types of magnesium in precise levels, and we don't release exactly how much those levels are for people, obviously, because you can't make you can't have a patent on a magnesium blend, so that we could cover the whole range in what we thought was an appropriate dosage. And that seems, so we're hitting all levels. Poliquin used 4. We felt that 7 was better, and he used to take like individual ones and figure out the concoction for his athletes, which was complicated, and so we just put 7 in.
Okay, so with that being said, this is an interesting question. Vince Grant, I'm going to go backwards on your question. I'm going to put your second one up first here. So Vince Grant says magnesium can make you tired. I don't think it can make you tired. I think that's a misunderstanding. And if you're trying to stay optimally awake, how do you dose magnesium during the day without getting tired? Does magnesium make you tired?
Shouldn't. If you're getting fatigued from magnesium, there's some other issue going on that probably is going to require a functional medicine doctor to really dive into, because anytime that you take any product and you start to experience a level of fatigue, and I want to separate the difference between fatigue and relaxation. The primary benefit of where magnesium switches people out of fight or flight into rest and relax. Now, if the system has been in a chronic state of stimulus and is, an overtrained state, an overstressed state, or you've gone past, the Seeley response mechanisms, that you are really starting to go into a mega catabolic state, it's quite possible that you could take magnesium, you start to rest and relax, and you fully recognize how deeply fatigued the system is. And if that's the case, you probably have a whole lot of other issues that really need to be addressed with some specificity. If you're feeling fatigued and tagging, you're overloaded somewhere, and you've got to address that issue before it turns into something far more serious.
What about Vince Grant's first question was, We have all of these new electrolyte drinks. He's calling them salt drinks. And they do have magnesium in them. You think there's a value to taking magnesium as one of other electrolytes?
You know, it's not going to hurt you, but you're not going to take an electrolyte drink and get the kind of same results of supplementing a high quality magnesium. There's a difference. So I don't want to, it's like comparing beer between vodka. Yeah, they're forms of alcohol, but the effect and impact of those are going to be very different by how much you consume, volume, taste, all that. Like, yeah, they're in the same category, but they're not the same thing by any stretch of the imagination.
Is there anything that enhances the uptake of magnesium?
That's a good question. There are some delivery agents, such as humic and fulvic acid. Always, and that will improve the delivery of just about any vitamin or mineral, because that's the chemicals that plants make to convert rocks into bioavailable nutrients. B6 and manganese are all things that have been shown to improve the uptake of magnesium. We've actually included those three elements inside of our formulation.
Let me put this up there too, just because we're gonna put this up in a little while, but this is the product that Bioptimizers has created. It's called Magnesium Breakthrough, and the reason it's called that is because it has 8 forms of magnesium in it. Each of those, as we said a second ago, does something different, and you just take 2 of them. If you're severely depleted, you can take 2 a couple times a day. I take 2 right before bed with a 5 grams of glycine, and I sleep frigging amazingly and predictably. I mean, I sleep good every night. And if you do want to try it, if you go to shrnetwork.biz/mag, M-A-G, and use the code SHR10, you'll save 10% off. And you'll also see some other opportunities to grab multiple bottles at ridiculous discounts. But that's the stuff right there. If you're really interested in solving this magnesium problem, there is no other magnesium supplement in the world like Mag Breakthrough. Don't even, you can sit around and go, well, I've heard orotate is better or glycinate is better. Well, just buy Mag Breakthrough. You don't worry. What's better changes with somebody's new blog post. You're always on top of it if you just use Mag Breakthrough, because it has 8 different forms of magnesium. What is the Thorin Magnesium Challenge? Do you know what that is?
No, I'm not aware of that one.
Apparently, there's a test called the Thorin, Thoren magnesium.
I'm going to make a note of this because I don't know about this.
Yeah, and I would love to hear what it is. I guess it's a way for them to determine where you are on the magnesium depletion scale. But I think the best thing is to do a cellular level test, because what's really critical about magnesium is it doesn't matter what's in your blood. That means nothing. But only 1% of the magnesium in your body is in your blood. The other 99% is in tissue. And what's in tissue is what makes the difference. And if you are nearing type 2 diabetes, if you're insulin resistant, if your blood sugar is starting to rise, or if you're a diagnosed type 1 diabetic, I can tell you unabashedly that you need a magnesium supplement, because that's what the research shows. Because the dysregulation of insulin is causing your body not to absorb magnesium. So that's a large group of people in the population, I think.
Yeah, I believe as well. I mean, here's the thing. We've been in business for 18 years. We released magnesium, I think, 1.5 years ago, something like that. And it's become our best-selling product in company history in a span of less than 2 years. Why? The 2 reasons. One, the deficiency level of magnesium in the population is extremely high. That's number 1. Number 2, the quality of the product will solve the various places that someone could be suffering from the depletion of magnesium. 2. And 3, I think the amount of magnesium that you require when you take magnesium breakthrough, as opposed to a single or even 2 or 3 types of magnesiums, you get overall better value for the product. So we have a deficiency, we have a superior developed product that costs you less in the long run to get what I call a somatic benefit. When you take magnesium breakthrough, you are going to feel the difference. And it's dramatic, it's consistent, and that's why it's been so popular.
Yeah. We're going to take.
We de-risk it too.
What's that?
We de-risk it.
What do you mean? Say that again.
We de-risk it when people try it. If they don't feel it's the best magnesium product they've ever taken, they don't feel the difference, let us know. We just give you your money back.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
Very few companies do that today. Very few companies. So that's huge. Yeah. When you were saying de-risk it, I didn't pick up on the use of the term.
Right.
We're going to take one quick commercial break. Stay with us. We'll be right back. We're going to talk more about this study that shows that subclinical magnesium deficiency is a bigger problem in our population than we think it is. Stay tuned. If you'd like a shortcut to better sleep, more energy, and calmer, more stable moods, then you should make sure you're supplementing with Magnesium Daily. Let me tell you why. About 75% of people are magnesium deficient. This deficiency can lead to higher levels of anxiety, irritability, trouble sleeping, and low energy. It can even contribute to foot and leg cramps while you sleep. Magnesium Breakthrough by Bioptimizers is the single best magnesium supplement in the world. Simply take 2 capsules before you go to bed, and you'll be amazed by the improvements in your mood and energy levels, and how much more rested you feel when you wake up. I take Magnesium Breakthrough every night, and I sleep better because I use it. Go to magbreakthrough.com/SHR and use the code SHR10 during checkout to save 10% off and get free shipping. Check it out. Verso contains potent compounds proven to increase NAD+. NAD+ is arguably the most important molecule in the body, and without it, you would die in less than 30 seconds. It's responsible for a number of physiological processes, one being that it guides longevity genes called sirtuins to direct cells in the body to perform their jobs. NAD+ levels drop with age, and when they're low, there isn't enough to guide sirtuins, so your cells start to break down. This explains why the body ages and consequently wrinkles appear. There is less benefit to exercise, it takes longer to recover, and an older body is not resilient like a young body. Start reversing biological age now. Go to shrnetwork.biz/verso and use the code SHR for 20% off plus free shipping on your bottle of Verso today. C60, also known as Buckminster fullerene, is the most powerful, most versatile antioxidant in the world. It's been shown in studies to double the lifespan of rodents. We all know the importance of taking antioxidants to slow aging, reduce inflammation, and improve mitochondrial function and energy production. But there are literally hundreds of antioxidants that would cost you thousands of dollars to take every day. I take one. I take C60 from C360 Health. Revive and Rejuvenate are 2 blends that harness the power of C60. Don't waste another minute. Go to shrnetwork.biz/revive and use the code SHR for 15% off and free shipping inside the United States today. One of the best health hacks there is using an infrared sauna with regularity. But infrared saunas are expensive, you have to assemble them, and they require a great deal of space in your home to dedicate to one. But that's all about to change because I negotiated an amazing deal with Helix, the infrared sauna blanket company, so that every one of my listeners can take advantage of an infrared sauna in their home, apartment, condo, wherever you live. Take it with you. Right now, you can get an infrared sauna blanket for just $469, and if you want, you can break it into 4 interest-free installment payments as well. There is no longer an excuse not to have and use an infrared sauna. Go to shrnetwork.biz/helix. That's HEALIX. Use code SHR. Get this ridiculously inexpensive price now and 45-day risk-free. If you don't like it, send it back. But I promise you, you will love it and you will never want to be without it ever again. If you've listened to this show for any length of time, you know that I have struggled to give up coffee for years. Coffee has destroyed my gut and it's impaired my health. Well, I haven't had coffee in months thanks to a product called Magic Mind. Magic Mind is the first nootropic blend I actually feel working. One shot and I'm good all day long. My memory is crystal clear and I'm able to function and have great focus without coffee or caffeine for that matter. If you want to try a product that really works, if you're like me and you want to give up coffee forever, or you just need something occasionally that will help you lift the brain fog, Magic Mind is your product. I promise you that this product you will feel when you use it. Go to shrnetwork.biz/magicmind, all one word, and use the code SHR for a whopping 20% off your first order. If you've listened to Superhuman Radio for any length of time, you know I'm a big proponent of peptides. One of my favorites is GHKCU, the blue copper peptide. It has the ability to repair and regenerate more youthful expression of skin cells, reversing the signs of aging. Restore Cell's stem cell awakening serum, along with their other products, contains potent formulations of blue copper peptides and only the highest quality organic ingredients. Superhuman Radio listeners can now save 25% site-wide. Go to shrnetwork.biz/blue and use the code SHR25. Remodel your skin today.
You're listening to the Superhuman Channel. Don't hate us because we feel good.
Welcome back to Superhuman Radio. I feel terrible. I really do. Alisa said, take off today. I says, no, I'm going to be with Wade today. I don't only get to see Wade like once a month now. I'm coming in. Here's a couple questions. Interesting. So the first one comes from Vince Grant. He says he owns a supplement company, a nutritional company. He says, do you white label this? I'm assuming he means private label it.
No, we don't. And the reason for it is it's everything that we can do to keep up with our demand.
Yeah. Like you said, it's it's the most popular product you have. Peter Penarga says, I take 2 tabs at night, which is what I do. Would that still be too little? I know some people take 7+ a day. Also, what are some of the signs that I am at a good spot with my magnesium level? SpectraCell.
Yes, I get this question a lot. And so I've crafted a process. So we have a group that's of what we call BioTribe members, which are people who are really taking their health seriously as part of our team. And it's this Facebook group that is curated by our team. And then they bring me in every now and then to answer specific questions. And one of the things that we've cultivated and developed in conjunction with some medical practitioners is a process where we increase the dosage over time through the loading phase. And there's a lot of research around loading phases of magnesium to get a physiological response much quicker. So how it works is like this. You would start out with, say, 2 caps twice a day. And, maybe in the morning and in the evening. A lot of people like it before bed because they find it very relaxing. Then you would add another cap in a 3rd serving on the next day. And then if you felt good, you would continue to increase it by 1 to 2 caps a day in divided servings until you get the runs. And what that means is when you hit tolerance with magnesium is a very strong one, it'll just flush everything out of your body. Well, what that means is your body can't absorb any more of that nutrient. You've hit tolerance level. And at that point, you cut it back by about a 0.5 gram. So like say 2 capsules, right? It's about a 0.5 gram. And you stay at that level until you get the runs again. And then you cut it back down another capsule or 2 until you hit your maintenance dosage. That maintenance dosage for most people is going to be somewhere between 2 and 6 caps a day, depending on their absorption rate, the amount of exercise levels they have, and how much magnesium they're getting in the diet. So there's quite a bit of variance. I'm a 6 caps a day guy. Right. I'm on the high side, but I went up to almost just a little bit over 5 grams before I got the runs when I went through my burnout phase. And I stayed at that level for, I did that cycle. That took me 6 months to get my magnesium levels solidified where 1.5 grams a day was good for me. And I've gone lower, I've gone down to half a gram. I've noticed changes in my sleep patterns. And for me, about 1.5 grams a day, which is, like I said, on the high side. Some people do really well just on 2 taps a day, depending on how well their nutrition is. Keep in mind, I'm a vegetarian. I'm an athlete as well. So it's quite possible that I just don't get the same amount of absorbable magnesium as other people who are on different types of diets. You have to factor all those things in.
The liver stores a lot of vitamins and minerals. So we know that hydroxycobalamin is the storage form of B12. And so if you take methylcobalamin, it's converted to hydroxy to be stored in the liver. And the same thing with cyano. Is there a storage form of magnesium? The liver likes to store magnesium in a certain form?
That's a great question. I don't know the answer to that specific question, so I'm not sure.
That would be fascinating.
Yeah, I'm going to pick that's why I love doing interviews with you, Carl. You always get me to think about, I need to find out about that information.
Yeah, it'd be fascinating to find out. And maybe we could.
My gut instinct says there's probably a form stored in the liver, but a lot of bone mass is where we kind of regulate magnesium. And what's very interesting, and this is an interesting thing that I've observed on DEXA scans. So I do a lot of experiments and I do DEXA scans. Now, DEXA scans will give you a bone density response. Now, if I jump in a sauna, a couple of, let's say I do 2 or 3 times in a week and I don't hydrate as well as I can. I do DEXA scans every 2 weeks. I'll see a 0.1 to a 0.2 drop in my mineral content of my bones.
Interesting.
Now, when you sweat a lot, you will give away a lot of magnesium. And this is one of the reasons why athletes do well on electrolyte supplementation, but also with magnesium, specifically high doses of magnesium. Magnesium and calcium work in a 2-to-1 ratio. And we have high calcium-based diets, and that can drop magnesium levels. So it's very interesting. You can go do that and see changes, and then I can just rehydrate, take lots of magnesium. I go back 2 weeks later, and my bone density is back up to where it was before. It's kind of...
That is fascinating.
Yeah,
So here are some of the factors that can influence magnesium deficiency. If you have kidney problems, if you consume alcohol frequently, week in and week out. Also, malabsorption issues that occur in the small intestine and in the colon. So if you're somebody who has like IBS or Crohn's disease, celiac disease, you most likely are magnesium deficient. Also, ulcerative colitis. If you've had an ileostomy, you have a colon problem and they're going to put a bag on you for a little while. Renal tube acidosis, diabetic acidosis. There's that diabetes again. Don't forget, when you have acidosis, magnesium is one of the things that buffers the acid. And so if your body is highly, you're producing a lot of lactate because of your training, magnesium comes to the rescue and quenches that lactate. So keep those things in mind. And then, of course,
just an add to that for people who are suffering that, sodas and caffeine, like coffee, can super complicate that situation as well. Sodas in particular.
If you're on a diuretic, right, your doctor has you on a water pill because you've got some congestive heart issues, which, by the way, the magnesium can actually help your congestive heart failure. And also if you have hyperthyroidism, if your thyroid produces too much and your doctor says, you're a little hyperthyroid, then you're going to be going through a lot more magnesium than the average person. So when you throw into that, if you're becoming more and more insulin resistant, now we can see why 80% of the population has subclinical magnesium deficiency. And it is a health crisis today. It's leading to a variety of other diseases. Craig Hollander says, some people that are hypothyroid have difficulty for the magnesium and other minerals to get intracellular.
Yes. Just to add to that, and of course, I'm a nutritional supplement company and I love people to use their products. I would suggest if people are in one of those conditions, they may want to consider doing vitamin pushes, regularly.
IV, you mean like an IV?
IV pushes. So, I just got back, for example, I just went for last week. I did IV pushes for a whole week with high levels of NAD using the Dr. Conover protocol, and then finishing up with a fast flush of vitamins at the end. And I got to tell you, you want to turn back the energy clock. That's the way to go for sure. Oh, I got to 5 days of that. I feel like I'm 20 again. I feel like I can run through walls. The ATP production, and I've tracked it with my DEXA. It's about a 20% increase in metabolism for me. So that's ridiculous. But yeah, if you've got absorption issues, definitely get a functional medicine doctor, nurse practitioner. Have them come in once a month or whatever, and get a customized IV based on your deficiencies from a SpectraCell test or whatever test that you've been done. I think it's one of the easiest ways to bypass those components. That's not going to sell me more product, but that's going to help you get more healthy. And
but then once you have optimal levels, you have to maintain them. So you have to still supplement thereafter.
Correct. But that's one of the ways that I feel in a chronic deficiency that you can, really load up the system relatively quick. You just bypass the digestive thing. Or if you have compromised digestion, like some of those issues that you were talking about, might be something worth considering. It's becoming much more popular now. Clinics are popping up all over the place, especially in the major cities, et cetera. I love it. And I think it's cutting edge. And a way to go. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, when I first started reading about that stuff, it was just the Myers cocktail that they had. Now it's everything.
It's everything. And I've got a practitioner that we just went over to Sedona, spent the whole week over there with a bunch of my buddies. It was just awesome. I highly recommend. I'm like, this is a regular occurrence you can do a couple times a year on holidays. You take a health holiday.
Well, I was just going to say, that's so cool, right? Back in the day, it was like, oh, me and my buddies we're going someplace. We're going to get hammered every day. We're going to lay out in the sun. We're just going to party. We're going to come home and we're going to be a total wreck. It's like, no, we're going to go and get IVs. We're going to lay in the sun, meditate.
I went over there. We got massage. I got acupuncture, right? I went on hikes out in the mountains. I'm doing IVs for a couple hours every day with fast Vitamix. I come out of that week, man. I'm like, I can't take any stimulants because like lightning will come out of my eyes. I'm just like, I gotta watch that stuff because I'm so supercharged.
Yeah, that I would love to do that. I got to get a SpectraCell test to start out with. I really, really do.
Yeah, you'll love it. It's great.
We're going to take one quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll wrap it up. Stay with us. You are watching and listening to Superhuman Radio, and of course, we're going to run the ad again for Mag Breakthrough here. So if you want to get on board with a great magnesium product, this is the way to do it. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. If you'd like a shortcut to better sleep, more energy, and calmer, more stable moods, then you should make sure you're supplementing with Magnesium Daily. Let me tell you why. About 75% of people are magnesium deficient. This deficiency can lead to higher levels of anxiety, irritability, trouble sleeping, and low energy. It can even contribute to foot and leg cramps while you sleep. Magnesium Breakthrough by Bioptimizers is the single best magnesium supplement in the world. Simply take 2 capsules before you go to bed, and you'll be amazed by the improvements in your mood and energy levels, and how much more rested you feel when you wake up. I take Magnesium Breakthrough every night, and I sleep better because I use it. Go to magbreakthrough.com/SHR and use the code SHR10 during checkout to save 10% off and get free shipping. Check it out. Being superhuman means being conscientious about the choices we make. White Oak Pastures is superhuman when it comes to raising livestock. They're committed to animal welfare, land regeneration, and rural revival. They responsibly manage the entire process from the pasture to your doorstep. High quality, pasture-raised, great-tasting meat from a farm you can trust. Full full nose-to-tail selections. They even have options for your pet. Go to shrnetwork.biz/white oak and use the code SUPERHUMAN to save 10% off your entire first order. I would easily say that I am the hugest proponent you will ever meet to doing anything that will improve the quality of my sleep. And that's because sleep is linked to just about every metabolic disorder we see in our population today. One of the easiest things you can do to improve the quality of your sleep is to get a pillow that can be shaped into the exact form factor that allows you to get your best night's sleep. And that is MyPillow. I've been sleeping with MyPillow for a few years now, and I can tell you that when I have to travel and stay in hotels, I don't get a good night's sleep because I don't have MyPillow with me. Right now, you can save up to 60% off of everything offered to improve the quality of your sleep at shrnetwork.biz/MyPillow when you use the code SHR. Or you can call toll-free 800-889-4938. And remember to use code SHR to save up to 60% off of everything at their website.
Dogs should be powered by fat and protein, not carbs. That's why Visionary Pet makes low-carb, ketogenic dog food for dogs of all breeds and life stages. From kibble to freeze-dried and even low-carb treats, all Visionary Pet recipes are very low-carb, ketogenic, and made with 100% real meat protein. Shop now and use code SHR for 20% off your first order today. Your dog deserves the lifelong benefits of optimal nutrition. Make the switch to Visionary and see why smart dogs eat low carb.
Remember those rectangular toaster pastries you used to love when you were a kid? Well, Legendary Foods has just made them better. The new cake-style tasty pastry is like nothing you've ever had before. With 20 grams of high-quality protein and less than 1 gram of sugar, you'll feel like you're cheating, but you're not. Go to shrnetwork.biz/legendary and use the code SHR10 to save 10% off your purchase of tasty pastries. Now available in cookies and cream, red velvet cake, birthday cake, blueberry, strawberry, brown sugar cinnamon, and hot fudge sundae. Go to shrnetwork.biz/legendary and use code SHR10 today. Have you been struggling to achieve results in the gym? Trouble sleeping through the night? Overwhelmed with stress or anxiety? Look no further than Infiniwell supplements. They have designed products to address specific needs like muscle growth, hormone balance, sleep, and anxiety from the first use. Infiniwell helps you live well. Go to shrnetwork.biz/bewell, that's BEWELL, and use code SHR20 and start living well today.
You're listening to the Superhuman Channel. We're ripped and we're ready.
Hey, welcome back. We're talking with Wade Lightheart today about magnesium, and specifically a product that they make called Magnesium Breakthrough, which is really the single best magnesium product in the world, bar none. Let's see. So we have a couple questions here. So this is from YouTube. DTOC369 says, I have absorption issues and find that Transdermal Mag Spray works well for me. Have you considered making a spray with the same ingredients as your Mag Breakthrough in a Transdermal?
No, we haven't thought of that.
You know, I got to be honest with you. When Transdermal Magnesium first came on the scene, it was probably about 9 years ago, I was introduced to it. Now, you have to understand something. I'm a little bit of a snob when people talk about Transdermal. Because if you look around on the internet, especially in the anabolic steroid forums, you'll find documents published by a guy named Triceptor. That was me. I was the official Transdermal guy. I used to import from Canada a product called Flowgel Ultra, and I taught people how to compound their own transdermals on their kitchen table. And when I looked at what was in the transdermal magnesium, there was no transdermal vehicles per se. It was some sort of oil base, typically. Maybe it had a little alcohol mysterate in it, a little bit. Now, don't get me wrong. I think the molecular weight of magnesium is well under 400 Dalton, so it is potential to deliver it. But hear me out. Just hear me out. Because I'm a huge critical thinker, right? If I can figure something out thinking critically, then I don't have to do any more research. So there's an abundance of salt in ocean water. Wade lives out in California. I'm sure he goes to the beach once in a while, right, Wade?
Yeah, well, it's just down the street.
If these minerals could get through the skin, then wading into the ocean would cause your body to pump up filled with sodium, because it would just rush through the stratum corneum of your skin and get into your bloodstream, and boom, you'd have like sodium overload in an hour. But it doesn't do that. And so unless you have real transdermal vehicles, and some of those are pluronic, lecithin-based organogels, some very powerful things like dimethyl sulfoxide, you don't disrupt the stratum corneum of the skin. The stratum corneum of the skin is basically like the tile, the shingles on your roof. And unless they open up, rain won't come through. So I have never believed the whole magnesium being delivered by putting it in coconut oil or alcohol mysterate or any of that, isopropyl mysterate.
Yeah.
All, because it stands to reason that if that was getting in us, then anything would get in us. Oh my God! Like you could rub anything on your skin, it would get in. It doesn't. It doesn't. Now, when you get in an Epsom salt bath, your magnesium levels don't go up, and you're soaking in that. Now, with that being said, if you have trouble absorbing magnesium, you have bigger problems.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have dietary issues. And I'm not saying you don't, Detox. I'm not saying that you don't have absorption issues. But we're all just guessing here unless you have a SpectraCell test.
Yeah.
So if you've been using transdermal magnesium for, let's say, a year or two, and you have a SpectraCell test and you are still magnesium deficient, then I'm right. I mean, he wants you to consider it. He says he hopes that you consider making a transdermal. Well, you can make a transdermal yourself. You can take the capsules of Magnesium Breakthrough, and you can go out and buy yourself some dimethyl sulfoxide. You can buy it at any of the tack shops that sell stuff for the local racetracks. And you have to, you'll get the best absorption, 70% DMSO, 30% water. Use sterile water or what's the word I'm looking for? When you boil it and the steam comes off, vaporized water. And so use a high quality water, 70% DMSO, 30% water. Mix the magnesium into it and rub it on your skin, and you'll have it. You'll have the exact formula that's in Mag Breakthrough, but in a true transdermal, and it will work. It will get into your skin. Distilled. Thank you, Detox. Thank you for saving me from my numb brain today. Yeah, distilled water. Yes, you can make your own. You really can. That's all I've got to contribute about. Good. He has DMSO. That's all ready to go. Buy the Magnesium Breakthrough and make your own transdermal Magnesium Breakthrough. There you go. So let's wrap this up. What have we missed? Anything?
No, I think it's pretty simple. It's pretty easy. There is significant periodicals. There's literally hundreds and hundreds of periodicals demonstrating that the benefits of supplementing with magnesium has an overarching general positive effect in the function of your heart regulation. Most people will benefit from it, especially if they're a compromised system. They have heart conditions in their insulin diabetics. It's also great for relaxation. So those are wonderful things. Magnesium Breakthrough is a great product. It's backed by a 365-day guarantee. So if you try the product, load up, buy the 6-point discount. You can save a ton of money, more than just the 10% that you've advertised. And if for any reason you don't feel the difference, great. We will send you the shipping labels to return whatever you didn't use, and we will refund all of the money. So we stand behind our products. I love being on Carl's show because he's so informative. I got a couple things now to go off and think about. that I didn't think of before, which almost always happens on the show. So thank you, Carl. And I hope that you enjoy the product, folks. And if you have any specific questions or you want to share your stuff, you can always email our team, jump on our bio tribe, and we can get into a deep dive in conversations that we can't over public airways.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Because they're listening.
Yes, they are.
They're listening. All right, look, it's been great to spend an hour with you today, Wade. Hopefully we've answered some questions. If there's more questions, you can send them to onair@superhumanradio.net. And next time Wade is on the show, I promise you we will answer them. You have a great weekend, brother. I'm going to go home and crawl up in bed with Netflix, and I'm going to chill, but I'm going to do it by myself because I don't feel good. All right, talk to you soon, brother. Take care. And that's it for today. Please share the show. You never know whose life you're going to help. You never know whose life you're going to change. And I have it on good authority that the Pope will make sure you get into heaven if you share the show. So there you go. I'm sorry. I can't even believe I made it through the show. My throat hurts right now from talking, most likely. So I'm going to shut my mouth now and end the show. And we'll see everybody Monday with more Superhuman Radio. Thank you for being here today.